Hi there, my name is Fernando Santana, and this is my presentation on a current environmental issue in South Africa. This is the answer for question 8 in the practical assignment for module DPEFPE619. The environmental issue that I'm going to be talking about today in South Africa is none other than acid mine drainage. So just to give you a bit of context, acid mine drainage and to tell you about a bit about it and what it is, acid mine drainage occurs when polluted water from mines drains into other sources of water. That water generally flows over pyrite, which is an iron-based mineral. And something happens when this pyrite is exposed to oxygen and water. It creates a reaction when it's also in contact with the iron ore in the ground, and that reaction forms an acid called sulfuric acid. As you'll probably know, sulfuric acid is a highly corrosive acid, and it can basically eat through anything from rock to metal and even human skin. Like I said there, if it comes in contact with humans, it can cause chemical burns. So pretty nasty. You wouldn't want that to happen. If you look in the bottom right corner here, here's a little image of what pyrite looks like. So how did acid mine drainage start, and what are the causes of this? What are the causes of this environmental issue? Well, unfortunately, acid mine drainage is a consequence of South Africa's gold mining history. As you'll know, South Africa is a big gold mining country, and we found some of the biggest deposits of gold in the world in this place. And as a result, it caused a lot of mines all over the place. And at some point, when these mines don't have money to dig deeper or to continue with their processes, or the particular mine they're in doesn't have any yields that would make them want to dig further and work on it, then these mines become derelict and ownerless, and they just sit there. The problem with that is, of course, there is no process put in place to contain the waste from the previous mining processes. So a lot of this waste is like acid-based waters and solutions, and it creates the problem I just described in the previous slide. So in May 2008, it was recorded that there were about 5,906 derelict mines that added to this problem. And if you have a look here on the right, there's a little map of South Africa, and every single little red dot represents a derelict mine, an ownerless mine. So these mines are sitting there abandoned, and they are just leaching this terrible acidified water into the ground. Out of these 5,906 derelict mines, the government has come to the conclusion that 1,730 of them are really high risk. So these are really causing the big problems out of this larger number. So why is this so bad for the environment? Why is it causing all this trouble? What are the results? So the results of acid mine drainage is that when it comes in contact with rivers or water sources, an easy way to spot it is that it becomes a rusty type yellow type orange color, like you'll see in this little image here. So this color is obviously caused by the iron oxide in the water, and it's very dangerous for South Africa's water sources. The water becomes very acidic, high in salts, also contains heavy metals, which of course you do not want to be drinking, you don't want to be watering crops with, you don't want wildlife to be drinking, because that can cause a lot of problems. Like I said, when this water is released into the environment, it pollutes it, whether it's groundwater or surface water. It causes a big environmental issue. So what are the dangers of acid mine drainage? What does it cause? So as a result of all of this, the dangers that are caused are that it can leach into aquifers, flow into rivers, like you saw on the first slide. And what happens is it can sterilize soil and contaminate food and crops. So this means that that soil can no longer grow food, or if it is grown there, that food could potentially be contaminated, which is of course a big problem because the people who eat that can get really sick. It can cause death, and they will not be able to live a subsistence type farming life, even commercial farming life, if there's acid mine drainage in their area. So you can see how this poses a big problem for wildlife and vegetation, and kill little animals, even bigger animals, and obviously destroy crops, which is a massive issue. And of course, if it gets into our water source, it's a really big problem, because if we can't drink water, obviously we cannot live, and that's what really makes it dangerous to human life. So what are we trying to do to resolve this issue? I must say it is an ongoing issue, so it is a continued thing that the South African government is working on. But when they looked at it closely, there was an estimated 60 billion rand that would be the cost for a total rehabilitation, and that was in 2015. So that was a really long time ago. So at this point, that number has gone far beyond that, I'm sure. That's a massive challenge. Obviously, coming in contact with or getting hold of that type of budget to be able to solve this ongoing issue is really difficult to come by, and that's a massive challenge in the whole process of resolving this issue. South African Cabinet did convene into an interministerial committee to try and find a resolution a while back, and of course the aim was to work on resolving the issue until the threat is essentially eradicated. This is a very difficult thing because they've been working on it for many years now, and it is still an ongoing concern in 2024, which makes it a current environmental issue as well, and a very difficult thing to solve. We really hope that they are moving in the right direction and can find a solution soon and work through it as soon as possible for the sake of the environment and of course the people and wildlife that live within these areas that are affected. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation, and thanks a lot.